Hey everybody, time for another episode of This Week in Real Estate. And we're just going to kind of continue looking back to the last week, kind of give you an idea of how the local market's doing here in East Central Indiana, and maybe share a few stories along the way. So I had a couple of new listings last week, one on Maryland Street in Parker City and another one on Grandview Court in Hagerstown. Both of those have seen pretty good amount of showings. We had an offer submitted on the one in Hagerstown. Came in a little bit low, so that one didn't quite get worked out. But again, seeing decent activity on that one. And then Maryland Street, again, pretty good activity as far as showings. And I expect to have an offer written on that one tonight. So fingers crossed for that one. Hopefully you get that one worked out. But if you recall last week's video, I had mentioned that I or anybody else here in the office am more than willing to sit down or take a phone call from someone looking to possibly get in the business or just have questions about the business of real estate. And had the pleasure of doing that. Had a very good phone call this past week with somebody just asking, the basic questions about the business and I guess job duties or whatever you want to call it. So that was a very good conversation. And again, I'll extend that invitation out to anybody. So feel free to call, text, email, whatever, and I'll be happy to sit down with you or take a phone call, whichever. And yeah, happy to do that. So the theme, if there is a theme of this past week, I will say was word of mouth. So specific to my business, I got a phone call from someone who was directed to me by a gal I used to work with. So obviously those are very well appreciated. And if you can imagine, basically any small business lives and dies by word of mouth and referrals and things like that. So that was greatly appreciated, and we're starting on their home purchase path, if you will. And so again, greatly appreciative of those people who send me their family, friends, or coworkers, or anything like that. That's kind of what makes our business go round. So, but some other stories about word of mouth is if you check back through a couple of posts, I had a very good lunch at the new El Caraton Daleville location. So I knew they were expanding, so they put another one in Daleville and one in Greenville, Ohio. Obviously, their base is there in Winchester. But I met the family over there in Daleville. They were in Anderson. We had an appointment in Indy, so we thought about eating there. And always a good time there. Always good food, good prices and everything. But I posted a picture of just the kids, saying we had a great time, great meal at the new Daleville location. And I had two people reach out on Facebook. One that had kind of been watching that kind of get renovated and get started. And they didn't know the dining hall had opened or the dining room had opened because they were just doing carryout at first. So they said, hey, we went there too. It was great. Didn't know they had the dining hall open. So there was one kind of positive for the word of mouth there. And then another one, another is actually a past client of mine, said, you know what, we weren't going to try it because, there were hardly any cars there. We thought it was kind of like a sketchy kind of rundown or, not a good place to eat. But again, they were just open for carry out there at the beginning. And so, yes, there weren't a lot of cars there. But since, I had posted that picture and saying, hey, we had, a good meal here, they were more inclined to go and try it out. So, again, word of mouth is just, what we strive and what I strive for as an agent to get those new business ventures and things like that. So, and then another one that'll lead me into another story would be my good friend Ryan Kramer kind of had a grand reopening of his office there in Muncie, and I saw a picture. It might not have been during the opening. It might have been just kind of for his office. I saw that he had brought in a masseuse for his agents, and so while planning a super secret surprise party for Rachel, I called him and said, hey, who'd you have? How did you like them? Give me their name and number, and within a couple minutes had them scheduled. So kudos to him for doing that for his agents and then referring that business to me. So again, word of mouth is what makes our world go around. So on the personal side of things, last week kind of had a sad happening. Had a former client pass away, and went to her viewing. Got to visit with her family a little bit. What an awesome lady, Mary Hollingsworth. If you didn't have the pleasure of knowing her, sorry that you didn't. She was just so positive all the time and so full of life, and rarely sat down. Just go go go. And she was a good person that I had the pleasure of knowing the last few years. Did a lot of business with her, and got to know her as a friend. So really sad for her family, and going to miss her. So. But on the positive things of last week, I mentioned before, had a great surprise birthday party for Rachel, and she was surprised, so that was great. That was number one. But then also went to a wedding on Saturday with, got to see Sarah and Jason get married. And Sarah worked for me there last year for a little bit, and then decided, hey, instead of working for me, let's let's go ahead and get her a real estate license. So super excited for her, and she's almost there. After kind of the wedding gets over with and gets done, she'll be becoming an agent. So that's great, and I'm excited for her. And so that was last week. This video, as I'm looking at my counter, is running very long, so thanks for hanging in there. But so up and coming for this week, actually have my appointment. I heard him get here. We're discussing a couple inspection responses. Hopefully writing an offer tonight, and then have some showings and things set up for the for going on for the rest of the week. So that looks like the long version of kind of what happened last week, and looking forward into next week. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya.